evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Diksha, and I will be your host for this event. We are excited to have you all here today to learn about STEM for grade 3 to 5. The goal of this workshop is to help educators build a strong foundation in these subjects, which are essential for success in today's fast-paced, technology-driven world. We hope that you will find it valuable and leave with a new insight and perspective. The event will follow the same instructions as before. We'll put everyone on mute except for our speaker to avoid any disruptions. We will disable the chat for our We will disable the chat box. So please write down all your questions. At the end, there will be a 10 minutes of questionnaire session. So then we'll enable the chat for everyone. The session is being recorded as well, which we will upload to our YouTube channel. So in case you missed any of our earlier webinars, you can watch our seminar on our YouTube channel. Please stay until the end. As we all know, there is a 5 minutes of assessment that must be completed in order for you to obtain your certificates for this webinar. Throughout the session, we encourage you to participate actively, ask questions, and engage in the discussion. We believe that everyone's input and contribution are valuable, and we want this to be an interactive and engaging experience for all. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the webinar. I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Shalini Kapoor, an experienced educator, having taught all age group ranging from pre-nursery to grade 8 in the 3 prominent board of education, CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE. Shalini is a science educator who believes in learning content experientially. Her passion for science and learning is something she wishes to pass on to each learner. Ma'am, I appreciate you coming in today, sharing your experience so much. The session is all yours.
Thank you so much, Diksha, and a very warm good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you educators who have taken out time, I'm sure after a busy and hectic day at school, to spend some time with us today for this webinar. As Diksha has already shared, the webinar is all about understanding how to implement STEM process in your busy school days with ease. So that is the aim for today. And yes, I'll just be starting with my share screen. Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So as we all know, what is STEM? We all are aware that it is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But STEM is much more than an acronym. Why so? Is the sharing happening still?
No, ma'am.
Is that
Please share your screen again.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Visible?
Yeah.
Please let me know if at any point there is a disruption in the sharing.
Sure, ma'am.
So STEM is much more than an acronym. I think it's paused again. I'm getting a message.
Yes.
Visible now?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, all right. Let's hope it doesn't pause this time. So as I was saying earlier, it's an umbrella term that is used to bring these 4 related disciplines together. And why do we need to bring these 4 together? Because together, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, when they are done together and children learn to work with these 4 together, it leads to the development of 21st century skills for the learners, which is very beneficial, as you will see throughout this presentation. Now, before we begin, I am sure all the schools right now are preparing to enter into the summer break. And summer break means assigning holiday homeworks, isn't it, teachers?
Yes.
So usually when we assign holiday homework, especially for EVS and science, we give children some projects to do. One of the common projects that we would give is to create a model. So here I've taken the example of water cycle. I could ask my students to create a model for water cycle in which what would the student do? Maybe just select some pictures from the net of the different stages of the water cycle, take a printout, cut them and paste them neatly and creatively on a sheet of paper, and that's the project done, right? On the other hand, I could also give the students an opportunity to work and research and create a model of a water filter using different material like gravel, like filtration sand, maybe activated charcoal, a form of grass, maybe different projects, right? So here I am showing you two things, a typical science project vis-a-vis a STEM project. In a science project, the child does not need to do much really. He'll just probably read about the water cycle, find pictures. Maybe the creative ones would also draw it or use some art and craft method to create the cycle creatively. But that is it. But for a STEM project, if I assign a class a STEM project, they will have to read up on they will have to do some background research and then think what design will they use, what material will they use. There will be a lot of planning and thinking and analyzing that will go into the way of creation of this kind of a STEM project. So teachers, please respond in the chat. Which of these projects will involve greater creative thinking and creativity? Will it be a simple science project that involves creativity and critical thinking, or will it be a STEM process project that will involve creative thinking and creativity and critical thinking? Please respond in the chat. And as Diksha had mentioned, please remain alert throughout the presentation because your questions that are going to be asked are from within the presentation today.
So, ma'am, we have few answers. Yeah.
And what are they responding, ma'am?
STEM project.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
you're right, teachers. Absolutely. STEM projects involve a lot of critical thinking and creativity. So actually, when the student learns by doing a project like this, where he's thinking actively, his learning and his takeaway will be much greater. So that is one example I wanted to show you, but there are so many different types of STEM projects which we can use for the children at different age levels. Now, what is STEM about? STEM, as we have understood, is an umbrella term. It's a large term which involves these 4 disciplines: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But in order to be effective STEM educators, we also need to understand what STEM is not. STEM is not a new subject. STEM is something that we take part in daily. When a child splashes water in a pool, when a child observes evaporation in nature, when we cook in the kitchen, we are making up a new dish, that all involves STEM processes. We are using technology. Cooking is all about science. We are engineering a new product using given quantities, and we are thinking of maths because we are thinking of the time for cooking. We are thinking for the quantities that we are going to be using of the different ingredients. So STEM is everywhere. It's not a new subject. And it is not just integrating science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There is a lot more to it, as you will discover throughout this presentation. So what is STEM about? STEM is about designing learning, and it is about collaborative problem solving. We might be, collaborating with people in a team, but even when I'm working alone, I'm collaborating between the different skills that I have in order to solve a problem. So it's all about collaboration. STEM requires a deep disciplinary knowledge of science, technologies, and maths and how best to use them. And STEM is about critical and creative thinking, working in collaboration. When you use the STEM books that we prescribe, you do not need to prep lessons also because those lessons have been planned very well for you. Now, teachers, just in a little while, there is going to be a very exciting activity that you are going to be taking part in. And this list was shared with you earlier, I'm sure. So please make sure that this list of materials is ready for you. Along with all of this, do remember to keep a little bit of food that the local birds, the birds in your local area, eat. And since STEM is about collaboration and you are at home, what better to do than to collaborate with family members? So if your family members are available and free right now, you can ask them to join in and collaborate with you to complete this project that we are going to start. So before we move ahead with the activities, there is this short video that I would like you all to watch with me and understand a little bit more about STEM.
STEM. It's one of the most talked
Is
about
it audible, Diksha ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
topics in education. But what exactly is STEM? STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but it's more than that. STEM has grown to represent a unique approach to teaching and learning, one that centers around individual students' learning styles and interests. This means STEM education has something to offer every student. Unlike traditional education experiences in which subject areas are concentrated on separately, STEM education emphasizes technology and integrates subjects in ways that connect disciplines and relate them to each other. So why is STEM getting so much attention? STEM moves beyond simple test performance and focuses on developing higher-level thinking skills by connecting classroom learning to the real world. STEM emphasizes collaboration, communication, research, problem-solving, critical thinking, and creativity, skills that students need to be successful in today's world regardless of specific interests or career goals. STEM is a direct response to the realization that our future will be built on our capacity for innovation, invention, and creative problem solving. Unfortunately, the United States is falling behind internationally, ranked 17th in science and 25th in mathematics among industrialized nations. It will become more and more difficult to remain competitive in the global economy. However, as a result of STEM implementation over the last decade, the number of 4th grade students performing at or above basic levels in math has grown almost 30%. The evidence is out there, and it points to STEM education being a vital part in the future of the American education system and our ability to effectively train future global innovators and world leaders.
So while this video spoke about the need for STEM in the US, it's not just the US.
STEM.
It's also there. The need for integrating STEM education in our education systems is also there in all other countries. In fact, the new education policy that our government has introduced a couple of years back, it also emphasizes the need for hands-on learning, which is basically project-based learning, that is STEM. So now coming to the next slide, Edgar Dale was a very prominent and a famous and very well-respected educationist who studied the impact that different teaching methods had on the retention of knowledge in learners. And he collated all of this data that he collected over a number of years into a pyramid. This pyramid is known as the learning pyramid. It is also called as Edgar Dale's cone of experience. So what were his findings? His findings were that if students were only read to in the class, or they only learned by reading, the retention of knowledge was just a 10%. If the teacher decided to discuss topics with the class openly, then the retention of knowledge increased to 50%. However, if the children were given the opportunities in class regularly to learn by doing, to do hands-on learning, then the learning and the retention of knowledge increased to 75%. And the children, according to Edgar Dale and as other researchers have found out, learning actually increases to a 90% if students become teachers and take part in peer teaching activities or flipped classroom activities. So this is Edgar Dale's study, which is also known as Edgar Dale's learning pyramid. The application of STEM and the use of STEM processes in learning is also backed by the multisensory approach to learning. As educators, we all are aware children are different. Each one is unique, and each child learns in a different manner. Some child could be a visual learner. Somebody could learn by feeling things, or a tactile learner. Somebody could be an auditory learner, and somebody could be learning kinesthetically. So by integrating STEM in the classroom, we are actually allowing children to use different senses. And therefore, the learning for all students, whatever be their learning style, is equally effective, and children learn, and that learning stays with them for a very, very long time to come. So using STEM in the class is actually backed by a lot of science. Now, why should a child learn STEM, and why as educators should we emphasize on doing things in the STEM manner? Because by engaging in STEM projects, children learn and develop 21st century skills, which are also called as the 4 C's. Now, what are these 4 C's? The first one is critical thinking and problem solving, communication, creativity, and last but not the least, collaboration. Now, why is critical thinking and problem solving important? Because when a child is doing a project, what is he doing actually? The child is analyzing a challenge. The child is actually inferring from the data that has been provided. The child is thinking critically using all his senses and trying to come to a solution for a particular problem. Communication. We are humans, we all need to communicate. We have been communicating from the time that we were born, and the need for learning good communication skills can never be underestimated. Communication is something that we do all the time, and when the children take part in STEM projects, they communicate even more so because they have to talk in their teams. At the end, they need to share their learning. So there is a lot of opportunity that is provided in a STEM project for communication. Communication can be in different styles too. Maybe a child is just standing and sharing what he or she has learned. As they go to higher classes, they could even be making their own PPTs, their own podcasts to communicate. And the need for learning good communication skills is really immense in today's world, even more so. Creativity. Not just about making art and craft projects, not just about making that water cycle project, which we talked about in the beginning. Creativity is about creative time management. It is about planning for a project. It is about the creative use of material that has been given. So creativity is an integral part of a STEM project. And it involves thinking out of the box. And it involves creating from the collaboration of different ideas, of different team members. Collaboration. In today's world, when people need to be working, sitting at different corners of the world even, like today we are, I am somewhere and you all are in different parts of the country, collaboration is an important skill. Having good interpersonal skills is the need of the hour, and it will be even more so in the future. Collaboration is not just interpersonal skills, it is also the skill to be able to understand the viewpoint and perspective of your peers. It is the ability to appreciate the viewpoints of your peer group. And collaboration is something that when the children learn it, the dividend will be paid to them for years to come, throughout their life, in fact. Now that we have learned enough about what STEM is and why is it important, I'll take you through a typical STEM class. So be prepared to be my students for now. And at the end of this, we are going to be taking part in the project. So this, teachers, is a science concept taken from the STEM book of grade 3. I will just read through the passage that has been provided here. And basis this is the project that will follow for us. Eating in the winter is the title. All living things need food and shelter to live and grow. But in the winter, it can be hard for the birds and other living things to find food. People make bird feeders to help birds find food easily. Before they make the feeder, they need to find out what birds live around them. And they need to find out what those birds eat. Lastly, people also need to think about the weather in their area. So, what exactly are the 3 aspects that we need to look at when we are preparing a feeder? 1, what is the variety of birds which are living in our area, right? Which are the visitors? Then what do they eat? We don't want to make a feeder with some grains when the birds who come to our locality actually eat insects. So we need to be observant and we need to do our research. And then we need to keep in mind what is the weather in our area. And since we are talking of eating in the winter, we need to think about the weather in the winter for that area. A bird feeder is something that holds food for birds. Different birds eat different foods. We know what a bird eats by the shape of its beak. A hummingbird is a small bird, but it has a long, thin beak because it sips nectar from flower. A songbird has a short, hard beak, and which is good for picking up seeds and cracking nuts. A woodpecker, on the other hand, has a long beak, which is hard. It uses it to poke holes in trees and digs out insects that live inside. A bird feeder also gives shelter to the birds. In some places around the world, it could be raining or it could be snowing in the winter too. So a bird feeder will need to have a roof or a cover so that the birds are safe and their food does not get wet. Otherwise, it will get spoiled. Some bird feeders also have a place for the birds to stand while they eat. So these are all aspects that we need to think of while we are planning for our bird feeder. The feeders can be hung in a tree or they can be placed in the ground. On the next page, you can see there are different images for different types of feeders basis the requirement. The first one has a stand all around, a ring all around on which the birds can stand and have their food. The second one has has a mixture of fruits, seeds, and insects for the woodpecker to eat. The two which have been shown below have roofs to protect the food and the birds when it is raining or when it is snowing. So this is what we need to keep in mind when we plan for our bird feeder. Now, in our STEM book, the next page will give you the challenge very clearly. The challenge here is to design a feeder that will hold food for the birds during the winter. We are being very specific. And what are the testable goals for this challenge? The testable goals are that the bird feeder will hold food, keep the food dry, and feed the birds. Now, in order to complete this kind of a project, teachers, the children will have to look at pictures of different birds that live around the school. They have to notice the shape of their beaks and find out what the birds like to eat. So this is what you will have to explain to the children. If it is possible for you and if time permits, you can take the children for a nature walk where they can be quiet and observe the birds in the actual environment. And then children will also have to think about the weather around the school during the winter time. Once this background research is done, they have to now brainstorm and think about what a bird's beak looks like. Think about the bird feeder that you want to make and then draw a picture of it in the book. So this is the first step that the students will take part in. Along with this page, you can see on the next page, the suggested material list has been given. This is not an exhaustive list by any chance, teachers. So if your children want to experiment and use some other material, all the better. Let them think of material that they can recycle and reuse. Let's use the 3 R's with the 4 C's of the STEM project. That will be even better. And the whole planning process, teachers will have a flow to it. So the first step is planning. Think about all the things that you have, all the material. How can you use them to make a bird feeder? We will be doing this very soon for ourselves as well. But till then, I'll just take you through the steps and then we'll move ahead. After the plan has been done, but before the plan was the background research. So the background research, then the plan, and then the children need enough time to be able to create their own designs. What they've thought of needs to be now actualized with all the material that they have. After the creation process, the children will hang their bird feeders and let it stay there for a week, 10 days maybe, and keep observing it every day and write about it to show what happened when they hung it there. Did it hold the food? Did it keep the food dry? Did you watch it at different times of the day? And did any birds actually eat from the feeder? So these are the testable questions that the children will need to answer. And right at the end, the children will have to write an analysis. They'll have to do a reflection of how did it work? Do they actually think that the feeder that they made was a successful model? So the questions that you will ask them will be, think about what happened when you tested the bird feeder. Did your design work? What can you do to make it better? Because as science students, Our aim is always to better our best. Keep working and improving your designs. Well, now, time for some activity. So our challenge also today, teachers, is to design a bird feeder that will hold food for the birds during winter, right? During winter is the catchphrase over here. First, you need to draw the design that you want to build, and a Padlet link will be provided for you to share your design and write a little something about it over there too. So the bird feeder, what are the testable goals? The bird feeder will hold the food. It will keep the food dry. That is important. It will provide place for the birds to perch and eat. It will feed the birds. And if space permits, and if you're able to design something, let's plan something to have a space for some water too. This activity is for 10 minutes. However, please use 2 minutes to draw the actual design that you want to build. There is a Padlet link which Akita ma'am will be sharing with you also, and you can share your design drawn on paper first over there. So please take 2 minutes to do this. If there are any questions, you may raise your virtual hand or put it in the chat. And while you are designing your bird feeder, I am also making an attempt to design one for the birds that come to my balcony. Let's see how it works. And remember to label what you are drawing too. Akita ma'am.
Can we guide the teachers to post, how to post the pictures in Padlet?
Yes, Akita ma'am, can you please help with that?
Yes, sure. So I'm sending the Padlet link, and I'm going to show you how you're supposed to post on Padlet. So you can draw on a paper, and then you can just click on plus, you can click on the link, and then you can click on the plus sign. You can just drag and drop an image right here, or you can go to the 3 dots, upload, select an image, and then post it. It will be posted. And also please remember to write your name and name of school Like this is the image that I just put, this QR code, but just write your name, for example, Akita, and the name of my organization is SAR Education. So you have to write the name of your school and then just post it, publish. Here it is. So right now we're just expecting you all to do the task 1. Post a picture of your design. For example, Shalini ma'am has already done it. So please draw your bird feeder on a paper and then post a picture here.
So for me, Akita ma'am, it was very simple because I opened Padlet on my phone. So I was able to click the picture, with my
Right.
phone camera and upload it easily over here.
Right. So, ma'am, if you can share the screen again, on the next slide, there's a QR code which everybody can scan, and this Padlet link will open up on their phone as well.
Sure, just allow me a second, please.
Sure.
Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the QR code which everybody can scan using their phones, and they can go to Padlet through their phone. If there's any problem, please feel free to send us a message on chat.
We have received a response from Rajeshri ma'am from Vagoli. And ma'am, your design looks very nice. You've placed a bowl for water as well, along with the grains. And there's a lid on the bird feeder. So very good. Thank you for sharing.
Ma'am, you can share the Padlet responses here.
Actually, I'm
I'll
looking at
share
it
my
from the
screen.
phone. If you can, I'll just stop sharing my screen and then you can share the Padlet.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
These are the responses we've got.
Yes. There is a very beautiful one in which there's a whole house which has been built. And Anchela has posted this and it looks very nice. However, yes, it's a very nice design. And there is an anonymous response. Teachers, please remember to add your name so that we know who's sending what. What beautiful designs. Even Preeti ma'am's design is very nice with a bird feeder. Looks like an apple and very pretty. So teachers, now over to you for another. We can take 10 minutes to design, to now actually create. You've done the designing, you've done the planning, you know what material you want to use. Take 10 minutes to actually create that bird feeder, and then we'll move to the next one.
Akita ma'am, can you help Miss Pooja?
Yes. So the steps are also given on this slide. Shalini ma'am, if you could move on to the slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next slide.
The next one.
Yes. So the steps are given right here, ma'am. Once you are on the Padlet link, you can click on the plus sign under the heading Task 1 My Design. And then you click on this window, which will open, click on the 3 dots, or you can just drag and drop your image also. If you're unable to do so, you can send it on chat and I can help you post it.
Teachers, while you're actually designing and building the bird nest, maybe you can switch on your cameras so that we can all see each other's work, how you are actually creating that. And just like this, teachers, when you are working with the children, although we as adults take lesser time to work, but children will need more time. So allow them that flexibility of working for a little longer so that they are able to create something beautiful and which is of their own creativity and thinking. As teachers, sometimes we have that tendency, that our period is going to get over. Let's rush, let's get this finished. Let me show them the design and let them all copy. So please don't do that. The purpose of STEM is to build their confidence and their creativity. Let them think and come up with their own solutions to the problem.
Can we request everyone to put on the video so that we can see what you're doing? You can focus your on camera on your project that you're making.
And we can see Lakshmi ma'am trying to show something on the paper. Ma'am, can you please put it in the chat if you're not able to put it on the Padlet? Because I am not able to see what your, what's on your paper.
Lakshmi ma'am, please show. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have posted this. Can you check it, ma'am?
You've posted it in the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
Just allow me a second, please.
It's just with the work.
Okay.
Now we are making the model. We are making the project actually, the actual project.
The actual project, yes. And there is no right or wrong design, ma'am. What you've designed, you know best according to your, local environment. So every design is accepted. Just like for the children, every design is accepted, so is for the teacher. So please go ahead and start building. It's a beautiful design. The things that we need to keep in mind are what type of birds visit our locality in the winter? What is the food that they like to eat? Is it nuts? Is it fruits? Are there specific grains that those birds eat? And then based on that, we need to design the bird feeder. And there are certain goals, as I had shared on the screen, which I will share with you once again. There are certain goals that you need to keep in mind. The bird feeder should hold the food and keep it dry, which is very important. There should be a place for the bird to perch and eat. And there should be a space, maybe that's an optional, if you can provide a space for some water for the birds as well. So we have another 4-5 minutes for you to complete your projects. However, if somebody has completed, you can raise your virtual hand and you will be unmuted so that you can share and discuss. Diksha ma'am and Akita ma'am, are there any responses for teachers who have created and would like to share?
We have few responses in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we unmute those participants and then they can present what they have made?
Sure. So now they can unmute themselves. Miss Sonal wants to say something. Ma'am, you're Shalini ma'am.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
Unmute
realize
yourself.
that. Yeah. Sonal ma'am, please go ahead. Share what you have made. Switch on your camera, please.
Miss Sonal, you can unmute yourself now.
Anybody else who's ready to share? Namita, ma'am, Srimati, S. Kumar. If we can unmute them also. Maybe Sonal ma'am is facing some difficulty.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I have made a bird feeder.
Good evening.
Here,
Oh,
I have hanged it on my window.
wonderful.
I have made from basket and I hanged it with the help of a wool, and there is a small bowl for water also.
Okay, but ma'am, will you be able to keep the food dry in this bird feeder?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for that I will keep one more bowl. It is
I-
inside the window and many birds come over here.
Oh, it's an actual bird feeder that you are using.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
How lovely is that? Very nice. And what variety of birds come to your place, ma'am?
Small sparrows and sometimes pigeons also, ma'am.
Okay, and are
And
those green
outside the
chilies?
window, there is a pigeon nest also.
Okay, all right. The green chilies are for the birds?
No,
That we can
no,
see?
ma'am. Green chilies are for parrots actually. Parrots don't come here.
Okay, all right. Great, wonderful. So that's reusing material, right? I'm sure
Yes,
the
yes,
basket
ma'am.
must have come from somewhere and it's being used this
Yes,
way.
yes.
Very nice. Very interesting, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we all
Thank you.
applaud for ma'am over here silently?
Thank you, ma'am.
Wonderful. Great.
Thank you.
Sonal ma'am, are you able to unmute yourself now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can we have at least a couple of more shares where you can discuss about what material you have used and why you've decided to use that? And then we can move ahead.
We can see Alka Dubey here showing us something. Miss Alka, can you unmute yourself and speak about what you've made here?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm
Good
from Alpine Convent School, Sector 10. I am using this bird feeder for sparrows because pigeons are coming and disturbing my net. So in another balcony, I have kept that for them. And I'm also using this bird nest for them. So sometimes I used to keep this bird feeder. I use some small bowl and keep it inside the nest. And they come and they used to eat and play here. And a bowl besides it so that it is not getting wet.
All right. So, ma'am, can
I
you
have
explain what all have you used here?
I have used that plastic bottle, and there is a hole and the disposable plates, which can be
Okay.
replaced after some time. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And there is enough space for the birds to sit
Yes,
also. Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. Beautiful design. And I'm sure the birds are enjoying that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
We have Komal now. I can see her. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Komal ma'am.
Yes, I used this tiffin box. Means we mostly use and throw these boxes.
Right.
So I use them like this.
How wonderful. Can you explain what you've done?
Yes, I just heat the knife and
Mhm.
made this hole here, and with the glue, I stick this bowl here on the
Okay.
top for the water.
Okay. Oh, so the water is going to be on top and the grains will be inside that container.
Yes, right.
How wonderful. And this is such a beautiful example of reuse and recycle.
Yes.
Very nice. Very good. Can we all applaud for ma'am, please? Very nice. Thank you. Great. Good job. So teachers see so many ideas coming in from different parts of the country, and everyone has their own unique way of doing it. Very nice. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Now moving ahead with the presentation. What is the next step, Akita ma'am, that you want the participants to do? What is the next task?
Yes, ma'am. So the next task is to post a picture of your bird feeder on Padlet. So again, by clicking on the plus sign, you can upload your picture of the bird feeder.
So teachers, take another minute and quickly post the pictures of all the bird feeders, everyone, whatever you have created. And do remember to mention your name and the school's name along with your response. Akita ma'am, what is this task? What do you want us to do here?
Yes, ma'am. So this is the final task in this activity where we would like to encourage teachers to think and then give us ideas. How can we integrate this activity with other subjects like language or math or art, any other subject, how we could integrate this activity, how we could use this activity in other subjects.
Great. This will be a very interesting section to watch out for. So teachers, please answer this one as well. We'll stay on the Padlet for maybe another couple of minutes. Do remember to add and include as many subjects as you can, so that we can actually say that STEM integration is complete then. Are we getting any responses on the Padlet?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just checking. We've got a few under the first one.
Okay.
Quite a lot under the first one, and I think people are still uploading on the second one.
Okay. I'll stop sharing, ma'am, and you can share your screen so that everyone can see responses.
Sure.
Smita ma'am, we are using the same link for the Padlet. So you can continue using that one only.
I'll share the link again.
Sure. And do remember to write your name with your responses so that we know who's sending in the response. What a lot of beautiful designs, no, Akita ma'am, over here?
Yes, ma'am.
How creative. I like this one, the owl face.
Yeah.
Very nice. Wow. Okay, and somebody's written in blooming questions that we can use this activity to create an awareness and empathy with animals. Absolutely. Very nice. And these are actual bird feeders which our participants have shared today. So creative. All right. I think we can move ahead with the presentation. Otherwise, we'll get delayed in ending it.
Yes, ma'am.
So when the bird feeder has been made and created, designed first on paper and then actually created and tested, if there is any error, maybe there is a bird feeder in which the birds are not able to sit, they are not able to reach the food. So there, the students need to redesign. They have to think about what is the one aspect or the couple of aspects that they need to change from that bird feeder design so that it is a useful and a successful one. So either they will change the entire thing from scratch, or they can just change one or two aspects of it and see whether that works. That's the scientific method of working. And test it again. And then at the end, there has to be a reflection exercise. We have to think whether the bird feeder actually worked or not, which should be the case for any activity. Reflection activities must be done at the end so that the children can think whether what they've learned was actually useful or not. So that is the STEM design process. The first process is to understand the challenge that has been shared. The second step of the process is to do background research, find out what type of birds visit your locality, what do they like to eat, what are the weather conditions in the winter. Then, basis on our research, we know what are the specific requirements that we need to address. Basis the requirements and your research, children, when they are working in groups, they will brainstorm, evaluate, and choose a solution. And then draw it first so that there is complete clarity what exactly they need to develop in the prototype. That's the next step. After a clear drawing has been made, like you just did, teachers, the children will also have a clear idea of what they need to do and how they need to make the prototype. And then they need to test the solution. If the solution meets requirements, that is wonderful. They will just stick with that solution for them and then communicate their results that this is what I have done and this is how I feel it is working. However, there are cases where the solution may not meet all requirements, or they may not meet maybe a couple of requirements from the testable objectives. So then what do? We have to go back to the design process. We have to evaluate and choose a solution which is suitable. If our solution was suitable, but something went wrong with the prototype, then we redo the prototype step. If the prototype step was also fine, and there was some error in our testing, maybe we did not hang it in the right place, maybe we did not put the right grains, then we need to test the solution again with making the desired changes. So that is the STEM design process, which we have followed. We could not do testing of the solution because we don't have that much time, but when it's done in the class, for every STEM project, testing of solution must be done so that children learn from their mistakes if they have made any. Now, let's find out the use of the terminologies STEM in the unit Eating in the Winter. So please go to the chat box and respond. What aspect of science did you apply today while you were designing the bird feeder? We are waiting for your responses, so please write something. How did you apply science while you were doing this particular project?
Please write down your answer in the chat box. We have one answer.
Okay. What has been written, ma'am? Can you share?
Yeah. Gravity, critical, creativity thinking.
Okay, gravity is definitely a science concept.
Measurement,
So,
use
right.
of balance.
Yes, these are all science concepts that we have used. We've understood that gravity comes into play, so we need to have a sturdy place to hang it from and a proper hook which will hang it and which will allow us to hang the feeder and not let it fall down under the weight of the grains and the weight of the birds. So that is the aspects of science that you have applied today. Now, what technology did you use to make the feeder? Technology does not have to be computers and phones and all of that. Technology is all the techniques that you have used as well. How did you put your feeder together? Please write that in the chat, teachers.
Recycle,
Okay.
reusing,
Wow.
and best out of waste.
Okay. Great. That is nice. When you are stacking those, couple of objects, the bowl and the box or
Yeah.
the plate on a under a container and over a container, that's also a technology that you have used.
Balancing.
Balancing, yes, definitely. For what purpose did you engineer this feeder? What was the purpose? Why did we do it? Please use the chat box to respond. What is the purpose? It must be very clear whenever a STEM project is carried out in the class, the purpose of that challenge, why exactly are we looking at a solution? That must be clear in the mind of the learners too, so that they know what they are working towards. So the purpose of this feeder was, anybody?
Yes, ma'am, we have few answers. Feed the birds,
Mm-hmm.
to care for animals,
Wonderful.
empathy towards birds,
Very nice. Absolutely. And the last one, what is the appropriate math skill that we need to solve the challenge? How did we apply math over here? So when we think about it, literally everything that we do in our day-to-day life, we can break it down into science, tech, engineering, and math. We involve STEM everywhere. Yes, ma'am.
So measurements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely measurement of how much grain to put in, what weight will the feeder be able to bear. These are math skills that we have used. Proportions, yes. Great. So see, in a simple activity, we can also call it a creative activity, but we are using STEM over here.
Yes.
Now, what were the steps that we followed in implementation of the STEM challenge? The first one was that the science text has to be read, explained to the children. If there are written activities for practice, worksheets that are given at the end of the chapter, those must be done, because by doing written activities, the concept is cleared in even better manner for the learners. Then the STEM challenge has to be read and explained in detail to the children. And read and explain the objectives that are there for addressing that challenge. What is the purpose? Why are we doing it? Display the materials. Teachers, only display the materials. Please do not get creative and demonstrate the building of the model, because we know the moment the teacher starts doing something, all 25, 30 children in the class will be building an exact same replica. We don't want that. We want the children to think out of the box themselves. We don't want them to be copycats, right? Let them be creative, let them be individualistic, and let them create their own designs. So display the materials only. Do not demonstrate the building of the model. Determine the size of the groups the students will work in. This is very important from the point of collaboration. If we have a very large group, then collaboration becomes difficult, because the quieter ones will not take the opportunity to talk and contribute at all. And if the group is small, then also the collaboration is not that effective. So the ideal group size should be 4 to 5 students and not more than that. Foster a creative environment. Please encourage the children and keep reminding them there is no right or wrong. It is all right to make your own designs. And at the end, when they are doing their reflective activities and completing the journal, provide them support. And throughout the process, do support discussion and discourse. Now, what do we provide with our STEM book, teachers? It's important for you to know this. There are 14 to 15 projects, each with testable goals. There is a teacher's manual which will help you to plan this activity better. There are links for videos which will help in concept building. There are worksheets as well that you can share with the children. There are links of suggestive prototype, videos showing how a prototype can be built. So those links have also been provided with the STEM book. So all of this actually makes the teacher's job easy. Now, STEM prepares children for fast-growing careers. And how? So I will share a few with you over here, but I would like you to take to the chat box and respond what careers you think are helped by learning STEM in school. So STEM actually helps to, helps the children to decide on which programs they want to study for in order to get into their careers. I'm sorry for that. So this program opens the doors to many careers. There are dozens of STEM related subjects and professional fields which the students can get into if they have the right scientific and mathematical skills. There are fields like astronomy, biology, chemistry, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, which is the key word these days, information technology, without which we can't survive now, and so many more. Actually, so many more. The field is unlimited. So each STEM field from science, technology, engineering, mathematics offers many specializations, and the options available are virtually unlimited for the children. So when children have been part of a robust STEM program in school, when you have guided them well, when they're well, they can choose from a number of subjects to study in and a number of professions to get into. So the field is actually limitless. This is just a slide that shows examples of certain STEM fields, the skills which are used there, and the salaries in dollars that the students can earn on an average when they pursue these fields in their careers. So I'll just leave you with this for a couple of seconds. And in the meanwhile, we are expecting responses about careers that you feel open up when the child has done STEM. What fields do the children get to explore? So as you can see, aerospace engineering, applied mathematics, industrial design, oceanic chemistry, oceanography, medicine, and this is just a it's just the tip of the iceberg, I would say. There are so many others which are there. Now, what are the benefits of teaching STEM? It teaches the children so many important skills. The 4 C's: creativity, collaboration, computational thinking, problem solving, decision making, observation skills. So these skills will help the students in their life. And that's what as educators we aim for. We want our students to be successful, isn't it? It develops a solid foundation for the children in STEM subjects. Benefit of teaching STEM is also one that it sparks an interest in STEM related subjects. It encourages the children to be able to solve real life problems. All problems don't come in the classroom. There are problems in real life too. When the children have taken part in STEM projects, they have that confidence and they have that creative thinking to be able to solve real life problems as well. Another very important benefit of teaching STEM is that it helps the children to understand the true value of teamwork. It is always not an I, but a we which is successful. So the we is explained to them when they use STEM, because STEM offers them more opportunities for collaboration than any other activity in school. STEM is also very beneficial for students with ADHD. So when you plan for your STEM classes, you can involve your ADHD students or your children with special needs and have an integrated class. So these are a few benefits. Please think of some more benefit that you can think of and put it in the chat. Teachers, we'll be here for a few more seconds. We are waiting for your responses. I can see a few responses coming on my screen, which is activity-based learning, critical thinking, yes. Enhanced creativity, absolutely. Active learning, definitely. Collaboration, yes. So there are so many benefits, which the children are going to take away from the STEM classes. So do engage in these classes effectively, and I'm sure you will. And at the end, I would just like to say a warm thank you to all of you. You've been super participants, very patient and very active. So thank you for being here and thank you for spending this time with us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So it was a very wonderful session. Your insight, expertise, and enthusiasm were truly inspiring. And I know that everyone in the attendance came away with a wealth of knowledge. So your valuable insight helped us in understanding the research and action required for a successful implementation of STEM project in the classroom. So the session fostered collaboration, problem-solving skills. It was incredible to see the participant unleash their creativity and apply concept of maths and science to build their project. So on behalf of the team, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for your contribution to a success of our webinar. We hope that you enjoy the experience as much as we did. And thank you so much for coming today, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diksha, for supporting me throughout the presentation, and Akita ma'am as well. Thank you, Team SAR, and the pleasure was all mine. Thank you.
Shalini ma'am, before you go, I think Akita
Yes.
has collected all the responses. So
All right.
I think she can share the Padlet responses and everybody would love to
Oh, that
see.
will be
you know,
really
the-
nice. Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Akita, for doing that for us.
No problem. So
Please.
I'll share the Padlet. Here it is. We've got a lot of responses from everybody. A lot of creativity.
Indeed. And it is so amazing, teachers, the enthusiasm that you all have at the end of a day and engaging in a session. So really, I am so grateful for all of you.
We've got a lot of answers this time. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating so enthusiastically. I think this will be a good resource for the future if you ever want to integrate some STEM activity with other subjects.
Right.
So Ms. Akita, can they later on also open this document, our school teachers?
Yes, the link remains the same. You can just click on that link. You can save that link for future. And you can just click on the link and you'll be able to access the same Padlet.
Oh, wonderful. That's a lovely takeaway for our teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
Just share the link again, Akita.
Yes.
Shared the Padlet link again on chat.
Shalini ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you allow, can I ask like one or two questions?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, there's a question like how many children like should be in a group to complete a challenge?
So, we should not aim to have more than 5 children in the group. A group of 4 to 5 is effective for collaboration. So, teachers should have a group size of 4 to 5 children maximum, not smaller than that, and definitely not bigger than 5.
Okay. And ma'am, what if the students are not able to come up with an idea or anything?
Right. So initially that does happen, maybe for a particular topic. And since it's a new curriculum, maybe for some children, so they may not be able to come up with the ideas, but then that's the role of the facilitator, no? You guide them and you help them to come to understand the challenge first and give them a few hints. And after the initial hiccup, I'm sure the children will be able to come up with brilliant designs. But
Okay.
definitely the teachers should not demonstrate anything. It's
Okay.
nice to lead them on, ask them a lot of leading questions that will help them to think. And they will gradually, get the hang of it and be able to understand how to solve a challenge.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.